everyone. Appreciate it.
Next on the agenda, we'll have a discussion on economic development with Jeremy Hill. If y'all remember, if you're new, last year our focus was on learning more about the members of TPB and the entities that they represent. And so this year the executive committee decided that we would focus on economic development and thinking about economic indicators and trends, and then also local, state, and regional perspectives, and then how we can contribute to future economic development growth. Chairman Dennis, we all know, is very passionate about connecting economic development and transportation. And so we have invited Jeremy Hill to be with us here today from Wichita State University. It's great to see you again, Jeremy, and we'll look forward to hearing your thoughts.
Yeah. Well, thanks for letting me come. I had the opportunity for quite a few years to be the advisor group to this group. So I have been a part of this group indirectly for quite a while. And I've spoken to this group a number of times over the last 14 some years I've been here. If you want a forecast, here's my forecast booklet from February. Just if you want, don't all run up right now, but get your hands ready. You ready? Because you have to pop in. Let's have a little bit of discussion about regional indicators. So here's what I would do. I'm going to talk about what drives this economy, get into that sector and say what's the update of that. And then talk about indicators of households. Where are they at, and firms. Sound good? This is not my normal forecast, but we're going to talk about the basic ones that drive this economy, understand the strength of it. Sound good? You got to have your hands up. I don't see your hands up. Who's going to win? All right. So question right here, what drives the regional economy? What sectors? Oh my goodness, no one's going to win? This is not whammies, you know, right? You want to remember that? Go ahead. You got to punch in. They can't hear. Don't you have to? Yeah, you have to say everyone here.
Healthcare.
All right, healthcare. Is that on the list? What else?
Government.
That's self-seeking there. Who said that?
Aircraft.
Who said aircraft? Okay, what else?
Education.
All right, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to show you by the size at the 3-digit level. That's important because if I did 2-digit, it would just say manufacturing services. So I want the next level down. Right? I'm going to show you by size, but total number of employment and concentration employment means what's the share of that employment to our economy compared to that same sector to the U.S. economy, right? By that definition, on your left side, total employment, the biggest one is transportation equipment. That's aerospace here, but it could include other things. So that's the largest by employment at the 3-digit, which is including all 3-digit sectors. That's the largest one. When you look at the concentration, that means that same one is over 7 times more concentrated here in Wichita than is the nation. That definitely gives us a competitive edge. You look on there, someone said hospital or healthcare, but hospitals are on there. A lot of those are actually ambulatory healthcare, so you see a lot of healthcare services, and unfortunately, government didn't hit the top 10 there. So it should be a support. Government should be a support sector anyway. And on the other side, you can see this transportation, transit ground passenger transportation. That includes the school buses, because we got over here for Mays, things like that. Those are in there, and we have charter buses, which we have quite a bit here having as well. But not only you have that in the other government side of this. That's a high concentration. When you take that one and say, how do we compare that one sector, transportation equipment, and that's not even aerospace. This is the broader one. And you do it by wages. I went a little further and see what's the concentration of that wage here. Wichita is the 3rd highest concentration of all MSAs in the entire United States. If I could go down, and the data is suppressed here, if I go down to aerospace products and parts, which is really what we specialize, it would be even higher than that. Some of you already knew that. That's why I played the game. So here's the next one. How is aerospace? Well, you don't need it. If you wonder if there is that, how is aerospace faring in a post-COVID economy? I'll give you some indicators. Oh yeah, you can do your hands too if you really don't want to buzz in. Good, okay, bad. How about that? Bad, good. All right, I'm going to show you. Here's the index that the aerospace companies asked us to create several years ago. This is actually not Wichita specific. This is just aerospace. Our overall index, you can see the recession line, and it dropped and it's coming back. So it's not back to previous peak yet, but you can see a pretty sharp bounce back so far. So let me show you the components of it so we understand how aerospace is doing. The top ones I would say are the healthier ones. So in the top left, hourly wages, that went up. I don't know if you can see it with the yellow, but it's actually higher than it was pre-COVID. wages were going up. We are after higher quality workers, right? That is going up nationally. The next one is production is almost back to its previous peak. Just producing in aerospace, almost back to where it was. And you look at defense. This one, I was not optimistic with the shift in presidential elections. I thought this would go down, and it continues to be up. Now with Russia, it's going to continue to be up for a long time. It's not like we're going to have more contracts, but we're definitely going to deliver on those contracts, which if you look at per capita amount of federal funds come here through the military side, we get more than the nation. We get a lot of through aerospace, but there's also other stuff too. So because of the base. So that is a big driver to our regional economy. The bottom ones are what's lower, and employment is not back to its previous peak, right? And you can see that's still way off from the several previous peaks, but it's not back to its previous peak. And civilian aircraft, which includes the commercial side and business jets, that's the export side of that, and it's not back to its previous peak, but it's going straight up. It's doing a lot better. Overall, and by the way, I have an event in here 1 month from now. We're doing a full detailed report on aerospace, all these indicators, the health, vitality here. You should definitely come do that. It's going to be right a month from now. Check it on our website. And you can learn a whole lot more about what we think is going on in aerospace. And we have experts there as well. Molly McMillan, who a lot of you see, is going to be talking about the aerospace side too. All right. I'm ready for you. Thumbs up, thumbs down, or pipe in. Are households healthy, wealthy, and wise? And I did this ranking for all 105, right? So you can look at Butler if you want to talk about Butler or Sedgwick or whatever. How do they compare to the rest of the state? This is overall health and vitality of households. You can throw out a number if you want, if you don't want to do that. No one? Hey, you're being optimistic. We're super good. Hey, we're up there, right? No one else is going to throw one out? Come on, take a risk. Yeah, 105 being the worst.
50.
Huh?
50.
All right. Top third here. Oh, no, top half, I mean. Yeah, right in the middle. What else? No? All right. Here's our index of healthy, wealthy, and wise, and you can tell it's the one that's 77, that little shape right there. Sedgwick County did not go very high on this, and I'll show you the components, part of the components of it. And then Butler County is doing a whole lot better at 33. And there's an element of this that is urban and rural that affect it, and suburban. Now there's 9 components to it. I just picked out a few just to be really simplistic. On the health index, which has 3, each of those have 3, the health index is lower, and the wealth index is lower for Sedgwick County, and then the wise index is higher. Why is that? When you get to more urbanized, you also tend to have a lot more poverty in this market than you have other markets. You have a lot more of that support sector of retail and so forth that also brings in a lot more of that poverty and health issues associated with it. So you get a penalty being more urbanized. So if I really wanted to compare this, we should compare us against, up in the Topeka and Kansas City and Lawrence, but even at that, unfortunately, Sedgwick County is not doing that great on the healthy and wealthy wise indicator, except for the wise side. We have lots more higher concentration in some college and bachelor's degree. That is a strength to it. So the weakness of our workforce is that we have decisions that are not so healthy factors, and we don't have savings and other wealth factors associated with it. What does that mean to our economy? That means a lot. That means when you, as employers, we're looking into the workforce, they might have education, but we also have a lot of poverty associated with it. We have other issues associated with the labor market. Some people might be surprised when you actually go to Northwest Kansas, they go pretty high in most of these factors. Tend to be highly educated, and they don't have the poverty, and they're making healthier lifestyle choices. So when you look at those factors, we have the dual side by being an urban market, but that also is the workforce we're dealing with. Gini coefficient, since you probably don't really know that, that's income equality. If I look at the number of people in every single income category, how distributed is it across it? We have less distribution. That's a problem for our workforce. We want more income equality so you can have jobs moving up throughout your career. So that's a big one that I think is a concern for this market, because someone can have a low-income job, but how do they move up in their lifestyle? Where's that upward mobility for them? That's a problem for our market. All right, going on the household side, today, this is more of a trend. I like this one better than unemployment because you can hide out. You don't have to be looking for a job. This one you can't hide, and our labor market is all the way back to full employment. Households are fully employed. This idea that workers here are hiding out, they're not, especially when you look at baby boomers retiring and leaving the market. This is an amazing number. We're fully employed today on the household side, looking great. Misery index, I wish I could talk about it. I think I'm already running out of time. Level of misery, our misery is a lot lower than the nation because we're at full employment and home prices are going up, wealth is going up here. So households are doing really good in those aspects, except inflation is stealing a little bit of those wage increases that we've had. How dynamic is this economy? You want to throw out a number, 1 to 105, 1 being the best? Come on, throw it out, be risky. 20, be more optimistic, this is good. 4, we're even getting 8, there you go. All right, we're actually pretty high. I had 18 on here as the overall for 2021 as how dynamic the economy. Now I have it broken up in a few, and look just right next to us, Butler doing really, really well, how dynamic that economy. I had 3 dimensions. One, how diversified that economy is, which in diversification, Sedgwick County really does well. We actually, you think we're not diversified because of the aerospace story, but when you actually diversification amongst all the sectors, we're actually much more diversified. We're very healthy in that way. Even though that's a counterintuitive than you're thinking about. We're actually more diverse than you think. Expansion, we were expanding during that period of time, but we just got beat out by a whole lot of the other urban markets. We should have been a lot higher on this ranking. It should have been 1 or 5. We should have done a lot better, but we're not growing in the period of time I did this. And labor churn, I added that one in this market because I wanted to see a labor market where people are freely quitting jobs and going to new ones because that shows a healthy labor market. And we had less churn when I was taking this indicator, right? People were holding on jobs and not really moving around. That was showing a weakness in the mobility of labor market. We want labor to move because they become more and more efficient and more productive for the new employer they go to. So it was not being as, that labor market wasn't as optimistic as I wanted it to be in that one. But overall, it came up pretty high in the overall rankings. So here's the other story. How has Wichita compared in cumulative employment since 2000, this is over a decade, compared to all MSAs? And you've seen stories like this for quite a while, but it's always good to remind you, we did not keep up with the rest of the MSAs. And there's a reason why, which I can't talk about now. There's a reason why, and I don't really hold it against us. I think this will shift completely. You know, in a couple of years, we're going to be one of the fastest growing MSAs here, and I can explain at another time. On the wages, because we didn't need labor, wages were falling behind the nation. We were already lower than the nation, but we're falling behind the nation. And so when someone said the last several years, we needed more labor, I said, well, you need to raise wages. And they say, we did, but you didn't do it enough. If you need labor, that was the solution for that labor problem, is not that you just magically show up in a full employment economy. So a problem we got to deal with, and definitely an indicator I've watched for quite a few years. I'm at the end. I want to show you here. Here's this May 11th. We're going to get super detailed in aerospace. We got into skills and knowledge categories, all kinds of really cool stuff to break down what's going on. I did an impact, the first impact in years of aerospace, which I'll release there. I'll leave the rest of the secret, but we have some really cool stuff on there. And then our Outlook event, I'll just share, we've got our annual Outlook event. Some of you already attend that. We normally have around 750 people. We didn't have it last year. We got up to 850. Here's our speakers, ZipRecruiter, which is going to be super cool. She's got data for our market, talking about the issues in labor in a very different way than other people are doing. Talking about, I want to know what's going on in the airline industry, how people are moving in and out, and consumer demand, oil and gas, because that's a key sector for us. And then I'll do the Kansas Outlook. Anyway, that's October 6th. Anyway, any questions about the indicators? I've been doing these I just did a presentation earlier, over an hour and 20 minutes. So usually I talk a lot longer than that. I was down in Derby. Is anyone no one's from Derby? I was down in Derby at the city council, right? And people wanted me to stay longer. Did you not want it? There you go. Usually I don't, people want to talk longer than I am. I think I'm out of time though. Questions?
Jeremy, thank you so much. And when I saw there was going to be a discussion, I thought, but you really made it a discussion. So thank you very much. Thank you for all you do in our community. I know many of us lean into you and your expertise.
Absolutely.
So thank you for joining us today.